Okay, we are live. So, first of all, thank you for Inside IIM to uh, allow this. I'm Gejo, this is GP. We are from Career Launcher. We got already got a message, sir, jaan nikal di. Huh? RC passages are really tough.
आईसी पे तकलीफ हुआ. आई डोंट थिंक आईसी वाज दैट टफ.
सर
जान
कितना
जो
लाइव
निकाली है वो
करोगे?
क्वांट में निकाली होगी.
You both you कितना लाइव करोगे? You already were in CL करके पूछ रहा कोई. It was really tough is what people are saying. So I'll just share my screen and we'll just uh, go through uh, the few things. I'm sure that by now you would have listened to a lot of the analysis. So this would be probably one more that you're listening to. But I'm sure that whatever is the questions query that you might have, you have please do keep posting on the chat box. I'm having a look at the chat box and we'll take it. So we basically want to cover a few things. Just want to talk about the big picture. Number one, we'll get into the section wise analysis in terms of what we felt the section was. A probability score versus percentile. This is always going to be with respect to a star. This is based on our general understanding in terms of what the test was, and then we'll also talk about what next you have to do, and that's the case. So we will sort of start with the big picture. I'll let uh, so this is sort of what we felt the paper was. I don't know whether you guys agree with this or not. You can type in the chat box. So GP, so why don't you just quickly give an overview
Sure,
uh,
sure.
of
So
the
if you look at the paper across the three slots and we do a comparison with the last year's paper, the verbal section was, I would say, by and large similar to last year. Maybe one mark here or there can happen, but by and large, when you look at verbal, no significant change. One thing which most of the students would have been comfortable with or happy about is the fact that there were very few questions which had double negatives or triple negatives. And most of the questions were straightforward, or I had only had one, which of the following with the author not agree with. Okay,
right.
so those kind of questions were there, but the double, triple negatives were missing, so that would have been fine. So the second thing which was there was the verbal section became 2 into 4 instead of 3 3 2. Three parajumbles, three last year till last year it was three parajumbles, three parasummary, and two sentence placement. The year before that, it was instead of sentence placement, we had odd statements. So this year we had parajumble, we had odd statement, we had sentence placement, and parasummary two each. And I am hoping that the students would have prepared for odd statement also, because I know many students did not do it and would have suffered. Okay, so overall, when you look at it, in the verbal section, something like 4 out of 8 or 5 out of 8 was not difficult. And similarly, if you look at the IC's part, about 10 out of 16 or 12 out of 16 was again a doable thing. So something like 14, 15, 16 question was definitely on, or let me say 15, 16 correct attempts was definitely on as far as this paper is concerned. And hence we think that a cutoff, and hence a cutoff of about a 99 percentile would be at about 38, 39 marks. And don't be too bothered about whether it be 38, 39, 37, 40. There's a subjective estimate, as Gijo said. None of us have looked at all three papers.
Agree.
Gijo and I were in slot 3. There were other faculty members who were in slot 1. There were some other faculty members who were in slot 2. And so no one knows exactly what is there in all the three slots. And we are just trying to, let's say, average out things and give it to you. Okay. The so VRC, I would say, not a major issue, and should have been comfortable for most of the students. The fun would have started from the second section, which is DILR. Like last year, this year again, it was a question of doing two sets of data. All the three slots, in fact, what was interesting is all the three slots had one set of data which was easy, one which was slightly more difficult than that, one which was again a moderate to difficult, and one difficult. And the interesting bit was, even the one I say the set was difficult, it was not difficult because of the level of difficulty or because you can't solve it, because it would have taken 20 minutes to solve. Okay, 20, 25. So it was lengthy more than difficult. So end of the day, whether it is difficult or lengthy, the bottom line is you could not attempt more than two sets, or even if you went to the third set, you would probably do about a couple of questions more. So DIRR was typically about two sets of data, There again, in those two sets of data, you definitely leave one odd question or maybe a couple of questions and get one odd wrong. And hence, even if you do three sets of data, you will end up doing something like 12, 13 questions, not 15 out of 15. Okay. And as far as these 99 percentile mark is concerned, we think it is likely to be similar to last year, which is about 27, 28 marks in terms of raw score. Okay. Remember, last year 99 percentile was 29 marks in terms of scaled score. So when we say scale score of 29 means the range could be from 27 to 31. So it is plus minus 2 marks is what you would typically be looking at. So this, by that logic, comes to a little on the lower side, and 27, 28 on the higher side could be the 99 percentile mark. Okay. The third section, quant, and for the first time in many years, the most difficult section has emerged to be quant. Till last year, we would always say that DILR is the most difficult section. This time, the mantle has shifted from DILR to quant, and frankly, this is a paper. This is a paper in which we'll find many students getting higher score in DILR, or let me say, most students getting a higher score in DILR and a lower score in quant. Now, what made quant difficult was the length of the questions and the fact that very difficult questions were asked. Okay, and also in some of the questions, the choices were also made difficult. So when you looked at this paper as a whole, okay, there's one thing which was interesting about the paper. Questions came in groups. The first 7 questions were all algebra. The next, if I remember correctly, 10 odd questions were all arithmetic.
Correct.
After that, 3 questions of geometry back to back, then number system and so on and so forth. So that is the way the paper was structured. Okay? And if you are not comfortable with algebra, the first 7-8 questions, line by question, you would be wondering, why is it that I'm getting only algebra questions? Okay? But nevertheless, those algebra questions, some were difficult, some of the level of difficulty was fairly high. And I would say doing 2 to 3 questions out of those 7, 8 was definitely a good attempt. Similarly, if you look at the arithmetic part, about 5 to 6 was questions could have been done. Maybe one odd question in geometry, one odd question in algebra, and not algebra, sorry, number system. Now, which means out of the 22 questions, and anyone who's done an attempt of 10 questions has done a terrific job of this paper. Now, when we look at, and why am I saying that? When you look at this paper, people who typically get 100 percentile every time, I am not one of those, but when I look at faculty members who are great at maths, till last year, for example, last year, the year before last, they were doing 17, 18, 19 questions and would always get 100 percentile. This year, they are saying that they found it difficult to do more than 12 to 13 questions, depending on the slot. So 12 to 13 is a 100 percentile kind of an attempt. This year, it appears at this point of time. If not 12 to 13, maybe about 15. But nevertheless, that means that this was a much more difficult paper, and the possibility of attempting high number of questions was very low. So which is why we think that the 99 percentile would be at a 25 marks level. It could go as high as 27, but I would not really bet on it being 27. I would I would think more or less that likely to be around 25. Okay. One of the things about quant is that ability to work with choices, which is what we call jugaad, using common sense, eliminating choices. That was possible in at least 6, 7 questions in my slot. I took slot 3. There were about 6 questions in which I could apply jugaad. I'm sure there were more questions, but definitely 6 questions I could apply jugaad, and that continued. That possibly would have been the case for the first 2 slots also. So most students have said they found it a little difficult to apply jugaad, but I think it was doable. Okay. So overall, what does that mean? That means that given the level of difficulty of quant has gone up, last year the quant 99 percentile was at about 34, 35 marks. This year it is going to go down by about 3 questions, which is about 8 to 10 marks. While in verbal, it could be remain as it is, or maybe go up by about 2, 3 marks. Net, we think, unlike last year where the 99 percentile mark was at about 84 marks, this year it could be 78 to 80 marks. Okay? 80 on the higher side, maybe 78 could also happen. But here we are playing a little safe and selling about 80 marks for 99 percentile. So this, I would say, the overall picture as far as this paper is concerned.
Yeah. So very interesting. I was looking at one poll. How was the day? How did the paper go? 39% are saying horrible. The 17% is CAT 2024. So that's already like 8% they said is great. and 33% they say is average. One other thing that you have to understand that the basic thing is that this is a relative test, right? In the sense that you have to do better than the rest. I think that a lot of you would have feeling very bad today with respect to what is happening with respect to QA. Let the response sheet come, let the results come. I'm sure that most will be absolutely surprised into the kind of percentile that you're getting. Uh, so I will just get into basically each of the section, the little more in depth. And some of you are actually saying that PRC's lottery was tough. How are people saying it is easy? So uh, there are not many VRT lottery is not easy. So we have got some questions like this. So let me just talk about when we say easy to moderate. I mean, this is sort of a weird word to use. So so this is like I don't know what benchmark you should have for easy. I think if easy is like 60 mark paper, then nothing will be easy. So just to sort of so I looked at INGP took slot 3, right? So and we had obviously had a discussion with people who have taken slot 1 and slot 2. This is what I found in general in slot 3. When I look at the passages, there are passages very easy to read. I mean, there were also passages which are slightly painful to read. For example, in our slot, many of you would have found, I don't know how many of you slot 3, the many of you found the slot on romanticism and romantic aesthetics would be a passage which was slightly painful to read. But there are other passages which were kind of not that difficult. I'm going to say easy. Let me keep it very relative in terms of in terms of what the cat is. So it was easy to read. But I think a typical question, I think the GP would also agree. I think this is case. Typical question was for every passage, there were like the 4 questions were all 4 was I think when I took the test, right? Usually what happens, you read the passage, you look at the options. In many of cases, some of the answer choice will say pick me, or it was very easy to eliminate. I think here there were at least 1 or 2 questions where you had to struggle a bit in terms of trying to figure out what the options are. I think they were the question setter in some cases were becoming a little sort of evil. In terms of creating options in some of the questions. So some questions were crackable, some questions were moderate. So so GP, this is my story. So I've seen some people who solve 2 passages, some people who solve 3 passages, some people who solve 4 passages. I think this whatever happens in the mock, this is what you're stuck with. When you
Right.
solve 2 passages, you typically have about 4 easy questions with you. When you solve 3 passages, you typically have about 6 questions with you. When you solve 4 passages, you probably will have about 8. I think I'm keeping it 8 to 10ish, 10ish. So so if let's say if you solved about 3 passages, 2 passages, I'm basically guessing that you probably would have found, depending on the passage that is chose, probably would have found this paper slightly painful to solve because you were obviously getting stuck in so many questions. But if those of you are like, I will solve everything, and they probably would have got a chance to look at, my guess is about 10 questions. Uh, so I remember, for example, the passage on romanticism and
Yeah,
aesthetics.
romantic
Uh,
as a
yeah,
aesthetic.
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 Okay, that passage was painful to read, but if you understand the passage, there were 3 questions I felt was crackable. One was painful. Some other passage had, which was easy to read, had 2 questions which were painful. So it kind of sort of weird to eventually figure out what happened. But I'm basically guessing that if there might be people who are sensible in taking the test, and this was the story of reading comprehension. In verbal ability, my take a GP. I think paragraph summary was easy. I think at least that's what I found.
That something was easy, no doubt.
Both the questions were. I mean, it was so obvious.
Hmm.
The none of the options had too many long sentences that you have to sit and pain yourself. And it was, once you read the passage, you get the idea. Look at the 4 options. So it was not painful.
Hmm.
So students who've been preparing really well would have probably got these 2 questions correct. Paragraph jumble, मेरे हिसाब से एक at least
एक तो
one.
डेफिनेटली था.
एक तो था, एक में थोड़ा मुश्किल होता. I don't know how people dealt with odd sentence. So my feeling, GP, is many people would not have prepared that much with respect to odd sentence. So
Hmm.
many people may not have a plan of action to deal with odd sentence questions.
Yeah, but
So
Gijo, if you look upon our odd sentence as a parajumble only and say out of the 5 sentences, I can create 2 pairs and the fifth one goes out, I think that would have also worked. So had they treated it like a parajumble, they would still have been able to handle it.
इसमें इसमें मेरे को क्या, आई डोंट नो वेदर यू फेल्ट इट, आई थिंक क्वेश्चन में ना इवेंचुअली आई वाज ऑलवेज स्टक विद दिस टू ऑप्शंस, इसमें क्या होगा इन बोथ ऑफ देम, सो दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन मार्क. सेंटेंस प्लेसमेंट again the same story, one was manageable, one was uh, kind of थोड़ा painful था.
Yeah.
तो
So
तो
Jijo, if I look at इसमें जो when I say 5 odd इसमें my breakup is one should be able to get both the parasummaries right and one out of two in each of the remaining three.
correct.
So 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is a kind of a pattern which I would look at. And which means if you are good in, let's say, sentence placement, you will probably get both of them right. Or if you are good in odd statement, you'll get both of them right. I don't think many people will get both parajumples right, so I'm not counting that. But to me, the median number to look at is a 5 number rather than 4. And so when students are saying that slot 3 verbal was VRC was difficult, I don't agree with it. And partly because I think verbal 4 to 5 questions were definitely on. And secondly, as you said rightly, there are many students who get stuck with 1 or 2 passages or 3 passages and don't do all 4. The key to doing well in VRC is doing all 24 questions. I've always maintained that if you don't waste time anywhere, because end of the day, even if you go back to the passage, you still don't get the answer. You go through the choices 5 times, you still not get the answer. When you get the answer, you typically get it in 30 seconds. And spending extra time is usually not worth it. So which, and secondly, most importantly, with those students who are comparing with last year the number of questions which had double negative, triple negative, quadruple negative was there were at least one question in each passage, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
This year we had not even a single question of double, triple negative. It was only a single negative at best. Okay. So which is what makes a lot of difference in terms of even understanding the question. Okay.
हाँ, तो इसमें struggle. So if let's say if I had to think about a 90 and usual 99 percentile person who's attempting all the 24 questions, my gut feel is out of the 16 questions of RC, that probably would be about 12 correct and 4 wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that out of the 8 VA questions, I'm basically guessing about 5 correct, and let's say 1 negative marking if we take it, 1 negative because some of the question doesn't have, that is 15. So it's about a total about 17 minus 5. 17 into 3 is how much? 51,
One.
right? 51 minus 5 is about
46.
40, uh,
6.
40, 46, right?
Yeah.
ये होगा मेरे हिसाब से 99.3 99.5 ish.
Yeah.
So वो वाला stage में, this is probably, which is why I'm basically thinking that at least it was because of this odd sentence story, the VA story, it will be therefore probably very very similar to about last year. So that is basically what I was saying. So I don't know how many. Let me just go through the chat. So a lot of people are saying that VRC the slot 3 was not easy. I think it was sort of not. Whether you look at it easy or difficult, I think definitely what I'm absolutely certain that वो passage पढ़ने के बाद भी वो option में they had created, I think this whoever set the paper were genuinely sitting and wanting to pain. so some of the traps you're actually looking, okay, this trap was manageable. So those of you who have got who generally have the no, sort of have the attitude to eliminate options, I think would have sort of done well in this paper. But I would, those of you who are attempted just 2 passages, I think you just have to hope that all the questions are correct. Almost all the questions are correct. Otherwise, it's
Unlikely.
which is always going to be the story here. So this is VRC. DLR, I don't know what people are saying. How was your DLR thing? Some people are some people are saying, let me just look at the chat and anyone talk about DLR as a section or LRDI, which way you want to call this particular session is. So Hans is saying VRC slot 3 was difficult. Fair enough. I think that reflects. The last year paper was difficult. We are not predicting that this percentile score is going to.
I think what students need to be clear is we are comparing with last year's paper.
Last year's
So
paper.
this year's paper of verbal would be by and large similar to last year's paper of verbal, and while there would be a couple of question choices ka issue, but the verbal part was definitely a positive over the last year's paper.
Yeah, this is what GP was saying, na? I think every slot people are saying something very similar. दो set तो निकल जाता है. एक सेट थोड़ा फाइट करना पड़ रहा है, एक
and
सेट तो मतलब सवाल ही नहीं, मतलब ट्राई करने में प्रॉब्लम है।
ये जो
हाँ,
दो सेट निकल भी रहा है उसमें एक दो सवाल पीपल आर लीविंग.
करेक्ट
So
करेक्ट।
typically instead of 10 it is a 8 kind of a thing, 8 or 9. And similarly if you look at doing all three sets, you're not doing 15 questions, you are doing something like 12 questions or so. So again, so that seems to be kind of a barrier, which was not the case last year actually. Last year, if I remember, my slot it was instantly slot three last year also. You could comfortably finish three sets. That is not what I would say for this year's paper. By that logic, this year's paper is marginally more difficult as compared to last year's paper.
The slot 3 one was doable. Actually, so the slot 3. So those who were taken slot 3 paper, there was one which was on that क्या था
Metro था ना, पुलिस
अ,
स्टेशन ए बी सी
तो
डी ई एफ.
जैन टू में था
हाँ
ना
हाँ.
एक,
जैन टू में ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन कोचिंग.
online offline coaching, and this particular set was, I think what was interesting is everything was a multiple of 10.
Yes.
There were too many. I think this was, I know how many of you sort of did not do that A E F B, I think C D. So
Yes.
this was a set which was like this,
Hmm.
and I think this so some of you had issue with respect to this set. So this set also was crackable, and there was, I think, that one set which was probably, I think some of you would have kind of missed this set and went and solved the AC set, would have sort of had an issue, but there was definitely, these two sets were solvable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
um
been true
uh,
for the earlier two slots also. The
Other
slot
slot,
one, slot two also. Ravi Teja, Shivku, everyone has reported the same thing, that two sets were doable, but within those two sets we'll end up doing maybe 8 or 9 questions. On the lower side, 7 questions probably. So 8 is the average number you could look at. Yeah.
and then I think slot number 1, what I heard was the same story. It was not at not as, I think one of the things that slot number 1 people were saying is that देख के तो पता नहीं चल रहा है होगा कि नहीं हुआ. I think that was also the case here. But
Ah.
just by having a general look at the set, you are not able to understand. You have to invest some time in a set. Then this thing was sort of would come out. So here I'm saying that 9ish was sort of. I think anyone who would have done anything about 9, I think, done a great job according to me. Oh, hopefully that, I mean, attempt should be right. So I will not be surprised if there will be somebody who would have attempted 14 to 16 as well. But I think the majority would have been two sets may about 9, and maybe a core set with 2 to 3. So I think that GP about 11 to 12 is what I basically see a good, sort of a good
Yes.
attempt, which will
That's
be
right.
about 33 and to
Ah.
36 marks worth of attempt with
Yeah,
negative
but
marking and stuff.
33 to 36 is likely to be a 99.5 plus this
This is,
year.
I'm saying with let's say whatever negative and also we are,
Yeah.
this will be a 99.5 ish. So about 27 is, I think, the 9ish is seems to be the sort of the score for DLR. And if I'm sure that in all the mocks that the people have taken, whichever mock that I think you've had all sort of weird sets. Nothing was weird here. Even that, for that matter, that median mode, whatever, it was not a weird set. It did not
See,
require
none
too
of
much.
the sets were
Uh,
weird. All
uh,
sets were such that you could start and you could solve, but the issue would be how much time will they take. For
Correct.
example, in our slot, I'm sure the other two slots also had one particular set which was like that. In our slot, the AC wala set,
Hmm.
you had four dealers, D1, D2, D3, D4. Two types of AC which are further subdivided into inverter and non-inverters. You had a Windows AC and a split AC, and each of them could be an inverter AC or non-inverter AC. And if you went through the data, almost everything was given in terms of ratios. There was hardly any number given, and which means you would end up doing a lot of calculation and making equations, and which is why it would take time. It is not said that it's a difficult set. It is a set which would take time. So doing that set would mean you will end up spending maybe 20-22 minutes on that single set. It could be higher also, and which would defeat the purpose. And the two sets which Gejo has given in the paper in front of us, each of them is possibly a 10 odd minute set, maybe 12
Yeah.
minutes. So in 25 minutes, you could comfortably do two sets, which would give you sufficient time to look at the third also. So if you have picked up the AC set, it is unlikely you would go to the third set. If you have picked up these two, there's a chance you would go to the third set. Okay.
I think by and large the story across. I think somebody was saying that is attempt about 6 question DLR. Would you clear the cutoff? You will clear cutoffs.
Yeah.
I think
See,
uh,
cutoff you will clear if you get 4 questions right. And when you say 4 questions, like we are talking about 80 percentile plus, 80-85 percentile range. The sectional cutoff, as Gejo always says, typically is 70 percentile for almost all institutes except
The
Lucknow.
the highest is 85% in each of the sections which I am Lucknow.
Uh,
Uh,
and which should
85%.
be done at 4 question level itself.
Yeah. So that is that I'm sure that clearing cutoff is would not be too much of a challenge for many. I will go to, I think, one of the section uh, which would have absolutely terrified people. I think it was QA. Uh, so GP was saying this, right? So there is the faculty people. He gets 100%, no, almost always.
Every time he gets 100 percentile.
Uh,
And then for the record, last year's paper, I think he did 18 or 19 questions correctly out of 22.
uh,
Okay, so
so
and last year's paper was also considered to be a bit tough.
so last year paper,
Hmm.
the man attempted about 18 questions. Almost everything is correct. So this year when we are talking, he said I was struggling to solve more than 12.
Yeah, he did
Uh,
13 questions actually. Sorry,
13 questions.
13 against 19 last year.
So 13 against 19 last year is about down of about 6
Six
questions.
questions,
That is a down of about 18 marks.
18 marks.
So if that is the scenario, I'm sure that all of us would have had sort of a very similar experience in the paper. I don't know how slot number one, any slot number one people watching, what did you feel when you uh, when you saw the at least slot number two and slot number three people came to know?
Yeah. We
So,
came to know that it will be algebra will be tough. So we were, at least in my case, I was just going through the motions. Okay, algebra का सवाल देखा, जुगाड़ नहीं लगता, आगे चलो. So though in algebra, I think 2 questions or 3 questions I was able to apply jugaad, but rest of the paper I just kept on clicking and going to the next one. And some of those questions, as Jijo was saying, were actually evil. That log question, Jijo, that log question was yeah.
क्या था वो मतलब? So
There
this
were
was
three terms in arithmetic progression. The first term was simple, I think 1 या कुछ था. Second term was on log of base 3 था या 4 था या कुछ 3 था मेरे ख्याल से.
there is half. Then there is a log to the base 3 of some bloody thing and
And
divided by
it's
log to the
a,
base
yeah,
of something else.
yeah,
Then there is log to the base 5 divided by log to the base
yeah.
5. Option is log to the base 4. What is
So even if you solve, you'll end up wasting a lot of time. So what needs to be understood is some of the questions were easy, but they were designed to they were designed in a manner that you would end up spending a lot of time. And those are the questions which I don't want to attempt. So this question, I just saw, मैं कहा अच्छी बात है, सवाल अच्छा है, कभी फुर्सत में बात करेंगे, आगे चलते हैं इसके
So
ऊपर.
there is Avinaba slot 1, Sohail slot 1. Syed Samir is basically saying, sir, 7 in QA. I think 7 in QA should be okay. I personally feel that if all the 7 question is correct, I think it'll be very close to more than 95% for sure. Yeah, मेरा gut feeling है. So if for example, if I look at algebra was about 8 questions, na GP. This was about 9 questions. Geometry was about 3, and this was roughly out of this 8. I think that 2 was like okay.
Or maximum 3.
Max
Maximum
3.
3. Upper limit.
Upper limit 3. This arithmetic में से I think out of the 9 maybe about
4 to
5.
5.
5-ish. Geometry में I think what was about 1.
1.
Numbers में it was about 1.
1.
If somebody knows the concept across all the areas, okay, that particular person is like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe a few more. If you're like very good in maths, maybe this might go to another stuff, and maybe this might probably go to about, if it is extremely good, this will probably about 4. This will probably about 6. This may be about 2. This may be about 2. This is about 10 or 14. This somebody is extremely good, and for this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this is a sort of a story in this. So let's look at
And when we say extremely good, it also we need to remember that extremely good means you know how to solve, but still that does not take away the time to solve.
correct.
Because
So there were
some of the questions were lengthy to read, and the calculation and the effort required would also be high in terms of the time required.
So this for example, the numbers questions or in my slot. Remember the number has got 15 factors, which is the smallest number, the highest number. So you need to understand 15 matlab it will be a, first of all it will be a perfect square. Right, huh? 15 factors कैसे आएगा? तो ऊपर का 3 into 5. So a raised to b plus 1 to so 3 into 5. So some a to the power of 2 and b to the power of the 4. Then you start. I think to even to get to that, I think you should have conflict. So if to me, I will. I think I'll not be surprised, GP, if even at something like a 24, 23, 21, 25, any of these range, people are getting very close to 199% in this particular paper.
Yeah,
So there are a lot many people. I think Shubham has attempted 10 here. How many attempts in QA? I think 9 in QA, one wrong. So I think you are very safe. Uh, every our quant question had extra step involved that took up additional minute or two. Absolutely. So it was a sort of a paper where you had to just. I think GP always says this paper is very tough. There is one advantage. आराम से बैठ के और आराम से pick up some few questions, do it, and then get out.
And then, which is why when Samir says 7 question in QA, he does not, his emoji seems to suggest he's not happy with it. But Samir, as Gejo said, 7 into 3, 21. If you have got all of them right, you could be 95 plus. Or rather, you would be 95 plus. Could की बात नहीं है मेरे दिमाग में.
I think one of the things that I also want you guys to put in chat is, let's say you write blank comma blank, but I think you have to fill it. The first thing you mentioned, how many attempts that you had in CAT 2023 paper. Let's say you attempted 9 question. Usual mock attempt, comma, let's say whether it is 12, 13. So if I look at 8, 30, I'm going to interpret 8 is your typical 8 was attempt in CAT 2023 and 13 is your typical mock attempt. So what is a sort of
in fact, I got a message from a student who was very disturbed. In quant, every mock, in every CDC, I was getting 35 plus. This time I'm getting only 27, 28. I wrote back to him, at 35, you would not get a 99 percentile in the CDCs, but at 27, you'll get a 99 percentile in CAT. So don't look at the absolute score. Look at the percentile which you are likely to get.
So, for example, let me list down what I'm hearing. So this is the so let me actually push this screen this side. So just to give a perspective, and this is very important. This is a CAT 2023 story usual mock attempt GP. So this is 9, 14, 7, 13, 11, 14, 10, 14, 9, 14, 9, 13, 8, 12, 7, 12, 8, 11, 11, 16.
That's verbal. 11, 16
so that will be okay. 9, 14.
6, 9.
6, 9. देखो ये है ना story.
It's a gap of 3 questions at least for everyone. So don't worry. Don't worry that ultimately your absolute score does not matter. It is your relative score which matters.
So therefore I think one thing that I think probably this particular chart here will, let me first talk what chart is. This is a CAT 2022. These are scale score. This is CAT 2021 scale score. These are estimate. So typically when you look at the highest cutoff is 85 percentile sectional for IIM Lucknow. Some of the IIM has got 80 percentile cutoff. Some of the IIM has got 75 percentile cutoff. This is the usual percentile basic cutoff. So the basic cutoff, I think that all the slot is more or less the same. So we'll just pick one slot. For verbal, the basic cutoff is about 18-ish. Is what we are predicting at this point in time. The basic cutoff for DLR is about 11 to 12. So if you get about 10 to 11, the kind of scenario. And the basic cutoff for maths is also going to be around in that range, about 10, 10. It's about, if you're able to, let's say, get about 3 to 4 net questions correct in quant. If you're able to get about same 3 to 4 net question correct in DLR, if you're able to get about 6 to 7 net questions correct in QA, you would have at least cleared the sort of the basic cutoff. So one of the things that you have to remember that in last year in CAT 2022, in QA, the 50th percentile score. Imagine what is 50th percentile. The 50th percentile is if there's a 3 lakh people taking the test, you have beaten 1.5 lakh people. Imagine the last year paper, which is reasonably fine. Definitely better than this paper. The 50th percentile score, which in QA last year was 4 marks. The 4 marks is basically one question. So about half the people spent 40 minutes last year and couldn't solve more than one question net correct. So this year, So this year is even worse. So here definitely I think that I will not be surprised, GP, if the 70th percentile will be like 2 questions net correct or
Yeah,
something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So
Yeah,
while somebody is saying that slot 3 was more difficult, Shalu, it's probably more difficult. I think that
Shalu,
this is
I just want to reiterate, Shalu, what I said earlier.
uh,
See, end of the day, none of us have seen all three slots. You have not seen, I have not seen, Gejo has not seen, no one among the 3 lakh plus candidates, all of us have seen our own paper only. So when I'm talking about slot 1 and slot 2, it is based on the inputs which have come from people who have taken slot 1 and slot 2. And secondly, those people, those faculty members, we discuss a lot amongst ourselves, and what the numbers we are getting is based is an outcome of a discussion. Based on the discussion, we feel that all the three slots were roughly the same level of difficulty. Obviously, there could be a difference, and देखो standard होता है, मुझे अपना पेपर हमेशा मुश्किल लगता है, ठीक है? So yeah, so maybe slot 3 was more difficult than the other two, but it will not be by a significant margin. Is
uh,
all I would want to
and
say.
most of the discussion that we have is eventually is I think people have got varied views. For example, I had suggested that the QA 99 percentile to probably will be 21 marks. And then people have said, no, Jijo, kaise hoga? I had a general feeling that 99 percentile, at least this slot, it can scale up or whatever. It can be about 21 to 24 marks. It was my gut feeling. But then it's sort of this sense is just to give a rough idea. First of all, we don't know how many questions we got correct. But if you are hitting the if you are getting 99% across, I think BRC about 40ish, maths about 25 to 28ish. So this could even be 25 to 28, but roughly about DLR very similar story. So that what that gives us is uh, the overall, if I'm able to get, I think there are good colleges. Some of these colleges, Indore, for example, IIM Indore, if you've got good acads, gives call at 90% na GP.
Yeah. So why did you are a girl and you have a gender and
Ah,
academic diversity?
so you've got the 90 percentage
Girls with
plus.
90 percentile plus with
Uh,
90 with the academic diversity will get calls at 90-92 years. Ahmedabad for that matter, if you're a humanities student, you're doing BA and or you are from a fashion background, you will end up getting a call at a 90 percentile. In fact, at 87, 88 also we have seen calls. Okay. And please remember this year, we think that 90 percentile is likely to be overall, if you look at the paper, the overall part is about and
45ish.
45. Okay. Last year 90 percentile was somewhere around 50 marks. This year it is going to go down by 3-4 marks. Okay.
Yeah. So, therefore, I think uh, uh, what you see so here the sense is just to say that look, nothing is lost at this point in time. We had a terrible this one. We don't know eventually exactly how others have performed, and these are all just our initial assessment. But there is what is so the sort of next story is what is important is what is next. That I believe. So what about GEM? Don't talk about diversity, student. तो मतलब जेम क्या है ये first of all there's no problem even in let's say if you're looking at there are still colleges across the board which will give at 95 percentile. There are many good colleges, 99 plus percent there are many good colleges, 90%. There are some colleges which you don't even consider any of these diversity, the sectional cutoff score, acads and all. There are a lot many colleges like that. For example, MDI is one of them. IAFT sure is one of them, which is also accepted in the CAT score. So you get lot many of the scenario. So I have given 75 mocks, but never seen such quants in even single mock. Yes, Atul. So we always have it. So which what does it tell? What does it tell you? That clearly tells you that IIM Lucknow has created a paper which is never seen in CAT. So all the mock is basically reflection of the CAT that has happened in the past. So IIM Lucknow created a paper which nobody saw. So who would have expected? Who would have thought that this paper, such a kind of quant will get created? Nobody knew. But the very important thing is that is the paper that everybody took. So if let's say if you are uh, if you're sort of handle the paper fine, it's fine. According to you, doing guesswork could have helped. I didn't no guesswork. Why won't do guesswork wouldn't have helped. You should have
So
basically
guesswork does not have educated guesses can help, Jugaad can help.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you might say Jugaad is a guess, but it's an educated guess, of which, or rather, it is a process which you use to eliminate choices so that you come to the right answer.
So, for example, there was this one question. I think GP and I did almost the same thing. X raised to 8 plus 1 by x raised to 8
Yes.
is equal to 47. What is x raised to 9 plus 1 by x raised to 9? First of all, कुछ चमका नहीं. Then I thought that 1 by x raised ignore करेंगे. X raised to 8 equal to 47. 3 बार root ले लो. So x is approximately 1.6. So basically we wanted
1.618.
no, 1.6 or 7 तो कुछ था ना?
1.618.
1.618.
1.62.
So I got about 1.6 था. So x raised to 9, this is what x raised to 9, x raised to 8 हो गया. 8 is roughly 47. 47 in 1.6 plus 1 by 40 is 1.6. तो आंसर देख के कुछ तो मार्क किया. So this is uh, so
This
this
was
was
the
this
first question for me in algebra.
this was one question. There was another question 1 plus 1 by 3 plus कुछ तो था ना ऐसा into something 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 infinite series. Just add arithmetic add करके ऐसा it was not a paper where जुगाड़ were there ऐसे बैठा था. but ऐसा कुछ भी करके you could have got some answer. Anyway, now it is gone. What next? There are three things that I want to say. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, is that another exam? I am ये पब्लिक पूछ रहे हैं सर मैंडेटरी क्वेश्चन क्या था. आई थिंक दिस वाज इन स्लॉट नंबर 2 क्रॉनिकल टाइम्स. आई वी वर इन स्लॉट नंबर 2 ना. कुछ टाइम पास मैंडेटरी क्वेश्चन ऑन
गलती
थीटा.
से आ गया था मैंडेटरी
सो
क्वेश्चन.
देयर इज नथिंग मैंडेटरी. रेक्टेंगल इन सेमी सर्कल आंसर वुड बी 1:1 and मैंने गलत डाल दिया था. आई डिड नॉट रीड इट एज रेक्टेंगल एज सेमी सर्कल. आई रेड इट एज सर्कल. आई थिंक इट्स गोना बी कुछ तो रूट 2 है ना. I mean, I don't think it's 1:1. I think it'll be a good rectangle. No. The first is that and other test. So please apply for. Please ensure that you are taking this test properly. One of the things that people have now people have said that ZAT is very tough. ZAT is very tough. Cat dekh liya na apne. ZAT is actually a much easier paper in the sense that it's a 3-hour test almost. There is no sectional time limit. Aram se you get so much of time to aram sit and solve. There's decision making. The ZAT is something that you guys should do. Okay. So ये तो ये एक सैन ने बोल दिया जीपी. आई एम लखनऊ जीपी सर का जुगाड़ वीडियो देखे पेपर बनाया.
बट सैयद हमने फिर भी जुगाड़ तो लगा लिया. Gejo has shown you 2 questions and I think I applied जुगाड़ in about 6 odd questions. And in a paper जिसमें 10 सवाल या 27 odd पे तुमको 99 percentile आएगा, getting 18 marks for जुगाड़ is great, yeah.
Yeah. So that is exam number 1. The second thing that you guys should seriously look at is B school applications. I think this is depending upon. So there is this. I think you can go to GP ka funda. I think Google में type करो GP का funda B school ranking. If you type GP ka funda B school ranking, there is a whole article that GP has written. Cluster given a cluster in terms of school. There's a video there. So if whichever college is left, I think it's important that you guys apply sensibly. So that is important. So पर जुगाड़ स्टूडेंट से नहीं लग रहा है सर.
जुगाड़ लगाने की प्रैक्टिस चाहिए होता है, आदत डालना पड़ता है और कुछ नहीं है इसमें. but ठीक है, it's history, just forget about it. Let's go forward. And I think that is a very very important paper. Every year I find students not taking that. We have 3 more days. The last date for that application is 30th of this month. Please apply. XLRI is at the same level as IIM ABCL. In fact, IIM ABCL, XL, FMS. These are 6 institutes. If you go into any of them, you will get similar kind of placements. Okay, so your opportunities are going to be at the same level. So please don't ignore XLRI. And the good things from your point of view for XLRI would be large number of students don't take it. CAT is 3.3 lakh candidates. that is going to be less than 1 lakh candidates. Your chance of getting into a top college is much higher there as compared to CAT.
इसको देख गौरव को देख गौरव बोला ZAT is going to be even tough for non-engineering. How is ZAT tough for non-engineering? ZAT has got 3 sections. One is VALR. So this has got, if you look at, there will hardly any, there will be about two grammar questions. Buzz out of the total 26 questions, one couple of vocabulary based questions. There is going to be 4 passages, RC passages, about 3 questions each. This passage will be about 300-400 words maximum. There is going to be one poem with about 2 questions. Then there is going to be some critical reasoning question, chota paragraph and solve it, and then couple of paragraph jumble question. If you have done the CAT, even if let's say you don't touch a single amount of grammar question, there are ample number of questions to solve. That is one. The next thing about this is this decision making. ये तो मतलब मस्त है. सिनेरियो दिया हुआ है, क्वेश्चन है, डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए कौन सा इंजीनियर चाहिए, कौन सा नॉन इंजीनियर चाहिए. The QA section has got QA plus DI, which I think about 28 questions, no GP?
Yes, 28 questions with 6 questions of DI.
6 questions of DI.
So 9 questions.
6 to 9 question DI. I believe the cutoff used to be roughly about 8 to 9 था ना कुछ ऐसा.
Yeah, but the last 3-4 साल से it's about 11 marks or so, 11 to 12. And it tells you the level of difficulty is much lower as compared to CAT.
11 questions. And one of the things that is, you have got, let's say 3 hours, roughly 3 hours. What if, let's say, you decided to solve, there are this decision making has got 8 sets, roughly, which are short set, will not happen. This you can do in about 40 minutes. Let's say VLR, you can do it in about 45 minutes. Let's say that you spend, let's say together, let's say you spend 90 minutes here. How many minutes is left? It's a 3-hour paper. Yeah. So another 90 minutes is left, na GP?
Yeah.
This 90 minutes mein dalo na 1 ghanta on these 28 questions.
In the worst case, between verbal and decision making, you will take, if not 90 minutes, maybe 100, maybe 105 minutes, not more than that. So you have ample time, and the level of difficulty is much lower. And those of you are saying this paper gave an advantage to people who have mathematics or who are good in quant, you are incorrect.
Correct.
Even this is a paper in which even if you are good in quant, you are unlikely to do more than 10 to 11 questions. Okay, even if you are very good in quant, unlikely you will go beyond 10, 11. But even if you are weak in quant, you'll still get about 5 odd questions done. On the contrary, if it was a paper in favor of engineers and so-called people who are good in maths, this would have been a paper in which they would have attempted 15 questions. That's not the case. So a difficult paper, what this does is it reduces the gap between the students who are proficient in a subject and as compared to the students who are not proficient.
So basically what GP is saying, that imagine a typical mock test. I'm going to call it weak, not so strong. You are basically attempting about, let's say, 9 questions. A stud banda is attempting 20 out of 22 questions. Abhi ka kya hua? You attempted 6 questions in this paper. This guy basically attempted about 11 questions, 11 to 12 questions. Yeah, basic story. The gap that used to be kitna 11 marks ka gap, and has come down to about 6. So that is what GP was saying. Anyway, coming back.
And just one more thing, Gejo.
Yeah.
Just going back to the paper. In this paper, the overall percentile will be a function of your performance in verbal. This paper as a whole is in favor of those who are good in verbal. Because you cannot score high in DI in quant, you cannot score high in DILR, but you can get a 50 marks in verbal. So anyone who's getting 45 odd or 50 marks in verbal, you're already at 90 percentile based on verbal itself.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is one. And the third very important thing is, so now 2 lakh people will compete for 1,500 seats. Kuch nahi hoga Chronicle Times. We have been, see, this is something that everybody says. If GP and I keep shouting, people will take test. Nahi hota hai. Okay, I have seen, we have been shouting about that every year. You look at how many videos that we and GPS created on that. Write that. We've been shouting every year, nobody writes. So you
IFT mein bhi to ye hota tha Gejo. IFT never got more than 40 or 1,000 candidates. And despite all of us saying, boss, likho isko, but theek hai.
So nothing is going to happen. You be sensible and go write the test. So now the other thing is this second stage of selection process. You're going to get calls. It's a guarantee. There are so many colleges, you will get calls from somewhere. What is going to happen is a story. CAT is happening in November. We have got December, Jan. Jan first week, second week, third week, fourth week. We have got February, March. ये वाला story है. We are here, December 4 weeks. I think around November here is CAT has happened. Somewhere here, December first week, you will get a response a sheet.
Yeah.
Your sort of mock responses you will get. But and then here though you will not get the percentile, you will get your raw score. Okay. And then the result is going to happen in January first week, second week.
Yeah.
This is when the CAT results come out.
Yes.
The interview process starts here and goes on all the way, depending upon the colleges.
Not only that, institute like Symbiosis, Nasim Monjis, they will start it early. They will not wait for IIM. They want to do it early so that they can give out early application, early admission offers.
So basically what is going to happen is those of you who have done reasonably well, if you wait till the result of CAT before I want to do something about my GDPA preparation, तो time नहीं मिलने वाला है. It is going to be horrible if you put all the hard work and you did not crack this sort of stage. And this stage is painful. So one of the very, very important thing for you is that a response sheet. As soon as the response sheet comes out, you'll have to figure out a way in which you can get the score. I'm sure that you have got a lot of sources. Inside IIM also has a source wherein you can put the response sheet. B in our site, careerlauncher.com/CAT. You can submit your response sheet and we'll do the analysis. I think last year our prediction, the year before that prediction, based was very accurate. So there's what
last year we were the ones we were the only ones who started by saying that 99 percentile would be about at 84 marks or 83 marks.
Correct.
And suddenly next day everyone changed their analysis.
Yeah. So as soon as when the response sheet comes, this is a place that you definitely will have to go. I'm saying, and put it and get some idea. You will get to know your score and then make an action. Your ZAT will happen around this time itself. You're also preparing for the ZAT here, other examination if you're taking SNAP in other exams. And then this, for example, this GDPR process, GDPR is like they will ask anything. CAT, whatever analysis, your story, you have to write SOP, and a lot many of this stuff you have to do. So this sort of is important. There's don't sort of wait for this, and so your next key thing is CAT ho gaya. All right, let's forget about CAT at this point in time. Whatever you attempted, we attempted. Your first step is if you're not applied for ZAT, apply for the ZAT, and then after a couple of days, get back and start preparing for ZAT. Preparing for ZAT will be an extension. You don't have to do much with respect to VLR. You basically look at the previous year's papers, especially from ZAT 2020 se leke 2019, 2017 se leke 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 23. I think you have to skip one of the paper. I don't remember which one. Which was horrible. That 29. I don't know which one of these paper. But you and then the decision making is manageable, and math you already done all this. So you just have to get the groove, or maybe take the test series. We're going to offer a test series. CDX is called Countdown ZAT, which is going to start. So you can pick that test series. We'll have the same analysis and solutions and other things. So you do that. That is important. Think about what kind of schools you want to apply to, and those are the thing that you've tracked. And once the response sheet comes, your next action point, irrespective of whatever, please do ensure that your ZAT story is there, the preparation is going to go, and the story is going to happen. And you think about CAT 2024 after everything is done, if at all things doesn't happen. So proud student of VRC 1000 attempted 20 odd questions in slot 1. Yay! Why was CAT 2023 so difficult? ये सब वाला सवाल है. कुछ सवाल लेते हैं अभी. So why was CAT 2023 so difficult? I have no idea, Shalu. I think the good news is it doesn't matter.
And and Shalu, it was difficult for everyone, so it does not really matter. End of the day, in this paper, at 50 marks, you'll get a 95 percentile possibly. So that's okay. So once the response sheet comes, you see your score as 50 odd, you know you are in line for the call. And that's for general category. If you are from SC, ST, OBC, the score required will go down further.
There's one more reason as to why CAT was so difficult, so that we can blame the CAT. Okay. The reason why I did not do well is that CAT is such a stupid exam, did all this. CL predicted 93 percentile and I got 92.92. Hats off for your analysis. There you go, Syed. Can you launch CDX separately, sir? Yeah, of course we can.
So we'll
Uh,
do that.
sir, please tell us about Snap. Snap, na? This Snap as an exam has got 60 questions to be done in 60 minutes. 20, 20, 20 and GP.
Yeah.
Sorry, 25 in LR. Kuch to hai na? I don't remember the exact breakup. It's a 60 minutes paper with 60 questions, with 3 sections. The verbal ability has got no reading comprehension. It has got everything else other reading comprehension. So that section will happen very quickly. Maths is more or less the same that you have done in the past. Well, logical reasoning thoda alag hai. You have all the NMAT if you're prepared for it. I think it should be done. Sir, you have so many years experience. Could you explain what the convener was thinking while setting the question paper? So if I have to be very honest, right? I think I don't know what what logic was. I think the paper made little more. So one of the things let's look at the good thing that the convener did this time. So all the VA was you've got all the questions together, paragraph jumbled together, paragraph summary together. In the QA question, you got all the sort of questions together. It was not jumbled. So they had actually carefully presented the question in a nice manner. Uh, so you have that, and if you look at unlike any other year, I think the level of difficulty across the three slots, type of question that they asked, this time they tried to maintain ekdam parity. I think unlike what probably happened last year, this year paper was ekdam parity. So there was certain intention in terms of ensuring that helps you. I don't know as to why. The only thing is about QA. Why was it made extremely difficult? I have no idea. I cannot understand. I think probably when we can understand. Essay writing. First of all, essay writing is there for everything. Please do understand the second stage of selection process for every college has got a writing ability test. A topic is given based on the topic you have to write an essay. So essay writing is going to be important, not just for that or for other exams as well. So 21 VRC questions with 75% accuracy. But I don't think I will clear LRDA cutoff. Let's wait and see, Ash. Let's wait and see. I think last year we had a story of one of the students of GP only attended 4 questions of DLR, no GP,
Yeah.
and cleared the cutoff.
Last to last year.
Last to last year went to IIM Indore.
Yes, he
So
should be graduating from Indore.
I love you, sir. Love you too. Uh, so पेपर सेटर का ब्रेक कब हुआ था गर्लफ्रेंड माय गॉड
और वो कैट दे रही थी.
हमारा शॉक. So please tell about NMAT and which college accepts second and third attempt of NMAT score. There are a lot many colleges that accept second and third.
Except for NM Mumbai, everyone will accept the second, third attempt.
So NMAT is a very standard exam. It is conducted by GMAT now, right? Which is the college that conducted GMAT. The first thing that you should do is take the NMAT official guide. Okay, वही type का question रहेगा. It is sort of predictable. उसको ढंग से करो. Because you've done many of the stuff, I think that you can just get the understanding of the paper. It was fine. So Q, I've always managed score 14 plus in the previous year's question and mocks, but today nothing was out there for picking. Even as an engineer, it was hard. Miska sir said it was more lenient algebra. You are right. How to prepare for essay writing? So how to prepare for essay writing is that so essay writing in the sense you are essentially have to create argument in written format. I think we'll probably need a separate session in itself. But we can never ask IIM Lucknow to conduct testing. And first of all, the last time IIM Lucknow conducted the paper, which was in 2017, it was the easiest of QA. It was the easiest. Huh?
Average ठीक कर देते लोग अपनी.
Out of each question are 34 questions, no 34, 32, 34 था ना तभी.
Yeah.
This was which means this is about 102 marks. 102 marks. The cut of 99 percentile score for VA was 75 marks. 75 percentage.
78.
VA, VRC. DLR was 73 percentage. 73 percentage was 99. And this particular paper, what are we saying? Sir, 14 DLR, 89 QA, and 15 VA, 80% accuracy. I think it should be good. Dhiren, it should be good. It should be good. I think we have answered all the questions. Any
Mm.
other specific question anyone has?
No, I think it's
All good.
yeah,
I think
all
we
good.
took 1 hour. I think we are fine. Thank you so much. Let me
Yeah,
special thanks to this. We can catch us uh, catch us anytime,
right,
and do go to careerlauncher.com/cat. You'll get all the analysis, and that's a good place. And we'll keep in touch.
right. So
Uh,
good night, all the best,
all the best.
and do fill up the Z form if you have not filled it up so far. Okay, good night.
Bye.